It's now live.
Yes, sir.
Welcome all the participants to the post lunch session of day 3 for AICT Atal sponsored 5-day faculty development program on innovation, startup, and entrepreneurship management. I request Dr. Bhalekar to introduce resource person, Dr. Smita Kale.
Thank you, Gandhi sir. And again, from me, I, Dr. Mangesh Bhalekar, welcome all the participants and today's resource person, Dr. Smita Kale. It's my pleasure to have an opportunity to introduce Dr. Smita. She's working as a manager bio incubation at Venture Center Pune. She is leading the Center for Biopharma Analysis Facility and BIRAC's Regional Bio Innovation Center at Venture Center. She is actively engaged in mentoring incubatees, infrastructure and facilities creation, and development of innovation ecosystem. Earlier, she has worked as an assistant professor at Sinhagad College of Pharmacy, Pune. Dr. Smita is a PhD in pharmaceutical chemistry from Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, and has academic experience of 12 years. Out of that, 3.5 years has been a research experience. She has worked on stabilization of therapeutic proteins during her PhD research at Institute of Chemical Technology and has been bestowed with the Best Innovative PhD Thesis Award in 2018. She has won a cash prize of rupees 3 lakhs as second prize at Able Best India 2014 Entrepreneurship Workshop in Bangalore, and also won second prize at Young Scientist in Healthcare and Nutrition at Bioprocessing India 2014 held at ICT, Mumbai. She was a finalist at Avishkar State Level Research Competition in 2017. She has published 16 research papers in various journals of repute, has a H index of 8. And she has delivered invited lectures at seminars and guest lectures at Institute of Chemical Technology and other colleges on analytical techniques and characterization of small molecules and proteins. So with that brief introduction, I welcome Dr. Smita again and request her to start her talk for today.
Thank you, Bhalekar sir, for the kind introduction. I'll just share my screen. I hope you all can see my screen.
Yes, madam. तुम्ही म्यूट झालेला आहात. You have been on mute.
Okay, I think I got a message. The host muted everyone.
Yeah, now, because there was some disturbance, so I muted others. So I just put it.
No issues. Now you all can hear me properly and see the slides too, right?
Yeah, there's some background sound at your end.
Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
But just give me a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, give me a minute. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Now is it better?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
You.
yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. So as Dr. Bhalekar has introduced me, I'm Smita Kare. I'm working as Manager Bioincubation at Venture Center, Pune. So today's talk, I'll be talking about science entrepreneurship and the different funding opportunities which are available for startups in India. So first we'll set up a little background about entrepreneurship. So I'll start with research. So because to come up with a new idea and invention, we really need to, invest time in doing some research, background research. And the research can be of two types, basic research or applied research. So basic research, we all know, will then finally lead to invention of new kind of theories, principles, and it's basically a knowledge expansion kind of activity. But when we talk about applied research, it is more practical, and with applied research we come up with products, we come up with new processes, new kind of services for mankind, for betterment of humans. And as being pharmacists, I think we are more involved in the applied research here. And applied research, the main aim is to translate it into something which can be then commercialized. So when we talk about research and innovation, so we need to understand few terms. Like here, you can see there are two types of innovations which I have shown. One is sustaining innovation, and here you can see the disruptive innovation. So sustaining innovation is nothing but an incremental innovation. So if you see this figure over here at the top, we see ocean is there, a sea is there, and to sail through this, if I ask some students or any one to give their ideas, what should be used to sail through this sea? So some people would think of this kind of a design, which is already known, and some background exists, and people can connect to this one. But some people might come up with this kind of an idea on the right hand side, where it is totally out of the box idea, something which is not known, which is very unique. So that would be called as a disruptive innovation. So sustaining or incremental innovation is the one where we already know the problem, people have already worked on it, there is an existing market, there are products available in the market. Then for this kind of innovation, since it's incremental, it improves performance, the cost might be lower. So it's related to some modifications which have been made to existing innovations to make it more better. So in this case, the customer is already known, the customer has a belief about the product, they believe the technology, market is also predictable, and traditional business methods are sufficient for this kind of innovation to enter the market. But when we talk about the disruptive innovation, in this case, the problem might itself be a new problem which you are trying to address. No one has worked on it. The market will be totally new. It could be a game-changing innovation altogether. So you don't know how the customers would react, how the market will be, how the behaviors will be. So it's very unpredictable. And in this case, the traditional business models might fail. So you might have to think about new business models to get the disruptive innovation ideas into the market. So having understood the types of innovation, I am sure each one of us is involved in doing some kind of research and innovation, either an incremental or a disruptive, and guiding the students to do the same. So what happens once we have worked on a research project, which is innovative research, what happens next? So either we publish it in some very good journal with a good impact factor, and if it is really novel enough, we might think of patenting it or protecting some part of it through any intellectual property right. Then if we publish it, it is in open domain. It is available to everyone on public domain. But with the patent, we have two choices. We can license our technology, we can license our patent to a company which can then take it ahead and maybe scale it up and manufacture and launch the product in the market using your product or process, or you can yourself think of taking that work ahead by forming a company of your own, and that would lead to formation of a startup. So a startup is a new company when individual or a group of people come together to work on an idea which is innovative, and while working on this idea they are actually trying to check whether this idea is feasible, repeatable, scalable, and has a good business model. So you keep on repeating the experiments to de-risk. So as and when you keep repeating, the risk involved with that technology is reducing. Okay, so the de-risking happens and you are sure that the technology is working at, say, lab scale, then pilot scale, then plant scale, and the other things also which you do, interacting with the potential customers, stakeholders, doing the need assessment. So all that would happen once you start your own startup to take your idea from lab till the market. So taking an idea from lab till the market is a journey of science to technology. So here in this particular slide, we see an example of Raman spectroscopy. So we all know that Dr. C.V. Raman was awarded a Nobel Award for the discovery of Raman spectroscopy principle. And this happened somewhere in 1920s. After that, people kept working on, developing this concept of Raman spectroscopy, so that was a science which was discovered by him. And then people tried translating it into a technology so that that science can be used for some kind of applications. And they kept working on that technology. And finally, now after 100 years, they could come up with what you see over here, a handheld Raman spectrophotometer. So the technology development and advancement is a long journey and will take a lot of time and lot of efforts from different kind of people. So this is not a very small journey that we need to understand, that any translation will take a lot of time, and again there will be different advancements to the technology which was first discovered. So these are technology readiness levels, TRL levels, defined by NASA. So it's very important to understand at what TRL level your project is when you are applying for any funding agency for grants, or you're approaching investors, or you're writing projects. So because one of the eligibility criteria there will be, they will ask you at what TRL level your company or your project is at. So it's very important to understand these terms. So technology readiness levels tells that where exactly you are in the phase of your innovation development, technology development. So say TRL1 is when you have an idea or a concept, okay, and then you start working on it. So that is called as proof of concept. You try to test your idea, and as you do that, you progress from TRL1 to TRL2. Then once you have tested your idea, you have some proof of concept with the experiments which have been performed. You progress ahead, you try to scale it up and again check, so that's you try to prove its feasibility. Then from proof of concept, if it is a product, you actually make a minimum viable product or a prototype, and then you move ahead to TRL3. Then you try to scale it up, demonstrate the technology at different scales. So from lab, then pilot, then plant scale. Then you either license the technology or you go yourself for manufacturing, and that's how you progress. And finally, when you are there ready to launch it, that's when you can say that you are at TRL9, ready to launch, or your product is in the market. So it's very important to understand at what TRL level your current work is. Now that we have set up the background, I'll now move on to the science entrepreneurship topic. I hope you all are posting questions in the chat box. Kindly keep doing that. and then we'll try to take them up at the end of the talk. So this slide tells you about, understanding the whole business process here. So business has two components in the science entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship has two components. One is idea, another is execution. So we talked about idea and from where the idea will come, that will come from the research work you're doing, or when you look around for what are the problems faced by people in whatever, say suppose we are in pharma world, so we know that what kind of medicines are required, what kind of formulations are required. So we look around for the problem, we look around for the need. There are some problems which are not yet solved, so there is lot of need for those kind of processes, products. We look around for customer pain. So if there is already an existing solution for a problem, people are using something, but then they are not satisfied and there is some scope of improvement there, then we can work on that. And this is how we try to find out the different opportunities which are there. The other thing the idea will come from is the solution. So once you have identified the problem, you will look at the solutions. If they are already there, then what are the shortcomings with the already existing solutions? Or if the solution is not at all present, then you can come up with a new solution. Know how to solve the problem. So sometimes you may be the specialist and expert in solving a certain problem because you have that kind of experience, expertise, and you have worked on those kind of problems. So that's how you are, you might be able to help people with that. So one thing very important to understand is once you have a problem and solution, give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Sorry, there was someone. Yeah. So very important to understand the offering, whether you are trying to make a product, a process, or a service which you will be then offering to or giving out to your customers. So it's very important to understand this. And then finally, you will have a revenue model around it. Once you have understood the offering, you will have a revenue model. So this is about the idea. But what is more important is the execution part. So this part, maybe, some part of it we are already doing when we are carrying out a research. But execution is very important because execution involves all kind of management. So it involves managing technical, your own technology development, validating it, managing the people, finances, all the stakeholders, managing the visibility, communication. There'll be a lot of competition, so you have to make sure that you are there and you are at a competitive edge. Managing the time, that's the most important. Managing time, people, and technology development. So for a business to foster, you need to have a good idea and good execution strategy. So when we talk about understanding technology, innovation, and science startups, so the technology ideas will come when you have understood the problem, pain, or need. And then if you have identified a solution or you have looked at the solutions which are there to come up with a new good solution. And that's how the technology ideas will then come into the picture, like you see here. But this is our Indian technology ideas, which is called as Jugaad. So in science entrepreneurship, we will not depend on this. We will try to focus more on science and technology strength. And that's how it will be called as a scientific invention, because to solve a problem, to come up with a new solution, we will take insights from science, from basic research, applied research, which has already been done, like the example which you see here of Dr. Alexander Fleming, who discovered penicillin. So when we take insights from science to solve a problem or to come up with a new solution, that's how when we say that we have come up with a scientific invention and we are pursuing a science entrepreneurship. So there's a difference in the earlier thing. This is not very knowledge intensive. this kind of invention, but these kind of inventions are definitely knowledge intensive. So I talked about the journey of taking your idea to the market. So this is how the journey looks like. So innovation is taking your invention to the market. So whenever we say that, we are working on a very innovative idea and we have done a research project where this is innovative. So actually it's just an invention which we have done. Unless we take it or it is in that form which can be used by people, it's not innovation, but it's still an invention. So whatever we are doing in lab, it's up to this stage where we are, developing the proof of concept and proving that it is doable. Till there, it is just an invention. When we move ahead, take a step ahead and travel this whole path that actually involves 80% of the time and work of this whole journey, that's when we'll say that, it's an innovation now. So all the inventions which have very successfully navigated this full journey have, been remembered by people and are real innovations. So we'll talk more about this journey. So this journey, as I said, is a long journey. So it's not a sprint, but it is a marathon. And there are a lot of different activities which needs to be done, and a lot of different stakeholders with whom you will interact. You will need people from of different skill sets, complementary skills to help you. So again, the same journey is here. We look at each step of the journey. So this we have already discussed, that problem, solution, and we come up with an idea. Then we work on that idea to generate proof of concept, test whether it will be successful, doable, feasible. Once we have done that, we will make a prototype, we will demonstrate it at different scales. Then to enter the market, we just can't directly go and start selling our product. So based on in which domain you're working, you will have to obtain certain kind of approvals, certifications. Like for pharma, if it is a new molecule, we all know that there's preclinical and then there are different clinical trials which needs to be done. Similarly, if it is a medtech device, then also there are different approvals which are required by CDSCO. So you need to then cross this path, do all this. Finally, then you'll have to set up a manufacturing setup, or you will have to identify someone who will do the manufacturing for you. There are contract manufacturing office CMOs there. And finally, you'll have to do lot of business development, marketing, getting in touch with people, identifying the supply chains, and then that's how you will reach the market. So for doing all this, you need to understand that where this all can be done. So some of the initial work you can do at R&D institutions, in laboratories which are academic or R&D organizations. But after a certain point, you will have to move on and form your own startup or a company, or you will have to license it to a bigger company which can take it ahead. So everything may not be possible in one small lab. And then there are different activities which needs to be done. So like here also, when you're trying to come up with a new idea, you must be clear that whether there are different capabilities there in your lab which will help you develop this idea. So a lot of brainstorming has to be done, ideation has to be done. How do you actually identify the correct kind of problem for that? A lot of need assessment has to be done. So whatever you are trying to think of as a good idea and solution for a particular problem, so go and talk to the actual customers, the potential customers, the people who are going to use it. What is their view? Are they really looking for something like this? And that's how you develop your idea more. Once you have done a lot of studies, you will first patent it, then you make the prototypes, and while doing all this, you will keep raising funds. So we'll talk about the funds little later, and get the certifications, manufacturing, and all this I have talked about. So then for this technology innovation to happen, you need a rich ecosystem. So what do we mean by ecosystem? So as Venture Center, as an incubator, we do provide a rich ecosystem, and I'll talk more about it in later slides. So by ecosystem, I mean all the different kind of people, services, help which you need to complete these tasks. So like for doing the initial experiments, you need a research lab. You need people who can help you, your guide or your mentors, people who know more about it, are experienced. And then very important at the bottom, which you see, are the different kind of fundings which you need at different stages. So when it is just a research, you need to raise funds to support your research. Then there is a funding for proof of concept. There are fundings available for scaling up, for doing more studies, validating your product or process, and that's how you de-risk the technology. Seed funding is there. Finally, to enter into the market, you have early stage venture funding, and then finally for expansion, you have other kind of fundings. So this we have discussed. Next, moving on, you will have to have, complementing technology. You need to have these different kind of people. So people who can map the problem and need, who will do some kind of market research for you, patent professionals who will help you file your IP, engineers. So if it's a bio IT product, you might know the bio part of it, but IT, if you are trying to make a different kind of a product, you might need people who understand engineering more, or people who know how to scale it up, who have done it before. And while you are doing all this, once you form a company or you're thinking of forming a company, very important component there is all the legal aspects of it. And for that, you will need a company secretary or a CA, and these need to be a professional service which will help you, understand the finances and taxes and help you incorporate your company. Then for all the approval certifications which you need to get in touch with regulatory experts, certification experts who will tell you what kind of documents you need to keep ready for all these kind of approvals. You will also need to interact a lot with other entrepreneurs, mentors who are senior, who have traveled this whole journey. They will share their own experiences, insights, which will be helpful to you. You will have to interact with investors, try to understand what they are looking for, what kind of projects they are supporting, and then try to raise your own money by pitching to them. And at some point, you will move from the lab to an incubator facility, or you can have your own facility. At this last stage, you will have to have people who understand suppliers, business development processes. You might have to set up a QC, QA department. Your team will grow. You will have different kind of managers. You will need larger space as you're growing, and that's how you'll need more funding also. So this is all required for a rich ecosystem for technology innovation. And where will you get this kind of ecosystem? You will get this in incubators. So the need for incubators or accelerators is to support the lonely entrepreneurs. Now, why we are calling them lonely? Because usually there is a lot of support for people to take up a job or take up higher studies after, once studies. So salary is the best thing people think they can get. So usually when you start your entrepreneurship journey, you are a lonely entrepreneur there, and then you really need good support in terms of facilities and services which will help you travel throughout this journey. So this is the ecosystem which we provide to fill up the gaps which are there. And then once you are in an incubator, you are working with, and you're surrounded by people who are also working on new startup ideas. So there are a lot of useful collisions, and you get to learn a lot. A peer-to-peer interaction also helps, and you get to learn from all the people who are around you. And then we do connect you to a lot of mentors, referrals for technical help, for business help, and that's how we help you. So there are physical incubators and there are virtual incubators. So physical incubators are like us, where we provide you space to actually work in our campus. So those are all the hard facilities. And then there are virtual incubators, accelerators, where it's all virtual, and it's mostly, you know, the mentoring which they provide virtually. So there are 4 things we really need to understand with respect to the science entrepreneurship. So these are 4 points which every one of us should understand, and these are the essential starting points. The first one is the clarity in the business idea. So this clarity, like suppose whenever we are drafting a proposal for, say, any funding agency, or you know, we are writing a research proposal. So how crisp our title is, and you know, how self-explanatory it is. By reading the title itself, if the person who's reading your application is able to understand that what you are trying to develop, then half the thing is, you know, you have achieved half the thing at least. So it's very important to have clarity that what is the final product which you will be selling to the customer, or the service which you will be offering. So see, we might be working on a technology. Say we are working on a nanotechnology, or we are working on a new synthesis process for a drug molecule. So that cannot be my business idea. My business idea will be the final product which is going to come out with that technology, because that is what the customer will understand. And then I need to know who needs it, who will be the final person who will actually pay for it, and then why will they pay for it, why will be they willing to pay for it. So what is that which is valuable in it? So what are such features in my product or in my process because of which the customer will be ready to pay for it? So whether you are doing a B2B or B2C, business to business, whether you are selling your products or the process to other business people, and then you know, they make something out of it and sell to the final customers, or directly B2C you will be doing. So whatever is your business, you will make the products and sell to customers directly, or it can be B2G, like you are doing the business and selling it directly to government. So there are different models there. So you need to know what exactly you would be doing and what will be its potential impact. Unless it has something, some value addition is there, people will not be ready to pay for it and buy it. Finally, who will make the purchase decision? So if you are working on a new molecule, then the purchase decision might come from the doctors and not from the patients, though they are going to consume it. So then you need to do the marketing to doctors also. So you need to understand that. And finally, who will pay for it and how much will they be willing to pay? So there's something called as value proposition. So which you should be able to define very properly. So it's nothing but you are trying to differentiate your product from the competitor's product, trying to explain what are those value added features in your technology because of which people will buy your product. So here at the bottom you see the pitch here. So pitch is the presentation which we give to investors when we are trying to raise funding, and sometimes you get say 1 minute, sometimes you might get 15 minutes also to deliver a pitch. But if it's just a small interaction or conversation with an investor, then you should be able to convey everything to them in 2 lines, like here we have tried to do. So you can just tell that this company will deliver this product or service to XYZ customer, who will choose our product over the competition for the following benefits or reasons. So what are those following benefits and reasons? And the business model will be, say, B2B, B2C, whatever I say. And the company aims to grow into which markets. So suppose if you have a chemical which you're working on, it can go in pharma market, it can go in cosmetics market, it can go in bulk chemicals market, whatever, and will maintain competitive edge. So why will you maintain that competitive edge? That's because you have some value added, and what is that? So that you need to describe here. So this is a small example of a pitch which will be useful for you to explain your technology to investors, to funding agencies while you're trying to raise some money. Second point, after we are done with clarity, technology and patents. So we need to understand that whatever we are doing is not very out of the box, or it's not, like a big magic which no one has done. So we need to understand that people must have thought about this product or problem. They must have worked on it. So kindly look at the literature, what has already been done. If people already have patents around, so it's no meaning to waste your time there. Because see, if you work for 2 to 3 years and then you realize that whatever I'm working on is already reported, so it will be all waste of your time and resources. So kindly look, so that's called as free prior art. Look at all the patents, all the papers which are reported, what people have done. So there could be few patents around the work you are trying to develop. So what is your know-how and where do you have the freedom to operate? So if you contact a good patent attorney firm, they will do it for you and they will tell you where you have the freedom to operate. So if you want to file a patent for the work you are planning to do, what could be your claims, say in which geographies, whether in India, US, where you will be able to protect it, and what different features you will be able to protect and what you will not be able to protect. So all that could be known beforehand before you actually start your work. It's very, very important. Otherwise, what could happen is once you start working on it and maybe you publish it, or people get to know that you're working on it, and if they have a patent around it, they might sue you and there could be patent infringement there. So be very careful over here. Next thing is resourcing. So we need to understand that one person alone in a small lab, it is not possible to take the invention to innovation. So we will need different kinds of resources at different stages. We may not need all 100 people to form a company and all 100 CR at the first day. Okay, so we need to understand the plan and make a simple flow diagram that when I am working at a POC stage, at that time, these are the equipment which will be required. Maybe I'll need 2 to 3 people working on this experiments. Later, when I try to scale up, I may require a bigger equipment, more number of people, and that's how your needs will change from stage to stage. So you should have a flow diagram ready, and you should identify the people, different people with what kind of skill sets would be required at each stage, how much money, what kind of infra facilities would be required, and that should be ready with you for say next 5 years plan should be ready, or the plan till you take your product to the market. And final thing is understanding financials. So yes, I did say that to help you with financials, you must engage some legal firm or a CA or CS. That's really required. But as an entrepreneur, since you are into a business, you also should have a basic understanding of financials. What is the income expenditure model? So the projection of income, where all my expenses will go, when will I become profitable, what will be the rate of return. So finally, when will I start recouping the investment. So some basics of the budgeting and income expenditure sheet should be known to you. So I'm not saying it should be known to you from the day one. You will learn it as you travel through this. So now talking about venture center. So I told you that for this transition to happen, to take your work from lab to a little higher scale and transition from say a research lab to a startup, you will need a lot of hand holding, support, and a lot of knowledge would be required from mentors, and that can happen at a place like a venture center, which is a technology business incubator. So we are one of India's largest inventive business incubator. We are registered as a Section 8 non-for-profit company and incorporated as Entrepreneurship Development Center. We are now 14 years old. We are hosted by CSIR NCL. So we are the first incubator under CSIR. We are approved by NST, DB and BIRAC and recognized by DSIR and DIPP. Being a non-for-profit, we are eligible for CSR funding. So these are some of the awards which we have won on national and international platform. So that's Dr. Premnath receiving the National Award for TBI in 2015 at the hands of President of India. That's my colleague Shoma. This is an international award which we received in 2018 in Taiwan. And this is a recent one which we received for National Entrepreneurship Award in 2019. So as Venture Center, our mission is to nucleate and nurture. So by nucleate, we mean if you are an individual who is trying to set up a startup, so maybe you don't have a business background, so you can start at that time and come to us and we'll help you. Next is nurture. So if you already have a company, say it's 3 to 5 years old and now you're trying to raise some more funds and you need some mentoring and you need some hand holding, at that time also we support startups. And which kind of startups? Technology and knowledge-based enterprises. So there has to be some knowledge intensity there, working on deep technology. And we do this for India by leveraging the scientific and engineering competencies of the institutions in the region. So how do we do this is by, taking help from all the experts and mentors who are around here in Pune. There are a lot of good R&D organizations, academic organizations. We all know Pune is an educational hub. So we are well connected with all these mentors and we leverage their help to help our startups. So the focus areas of Venture Center are inventive enterprises and spin-offs from R&D organizations. And we are sector agnostic and these are the sectors in which our startups are working: healthcare, biotech, life sciences, energy, environment, engineering, electronics, agriculture, secondary agriculture, food and nutrition. These are few unique aspects about Venture Center. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So as I said, we are 14 years old and we have extensive experience working with the startups. Till date, we have supported 600 plus startups. 150 plus have been on our campus as resident incubatees. 10 spin-off companies have been supported under our Lab to Market flagship program. We are highly engaged with mentor communities and stakeholders through the events which we do. So almost 200 plus events are conducted every year. So we provide high-touch mentoring support to science and technology-focused early-stage startups. 85% of startups supported by Venture Center are still active. 90% plus are at early stage, means they are at idea or proof of concept or prototype stage. 75% of plus have inventive products and more than 80 unique patent families have been filed by our startups. So proud to tell that 30% and more are women founders, 85% and more are founders who have very rich experience, work experience or higher degrees from premium institutes from India and abroad. So totally there is 50,000 square feet incubator space, and then we have 9 unique resource centers at Venture Center. So the risk capital mobilized in last 5 years by us is 340 CR. And this is a total revenue generated by our startups in last 4 years, that's 90 CR. So Venture Center provides a comprehensive support to promote early stage ideas, startups and entrepreneurs through its diverse and impactful ecosystem. So by ecosystem, what I mean is all these kind of facilities and services which we provide under one roof. So infrastructure facilities, we provide dedicated lab spaces, office spaces, mentoring. There is a lot of mentoring interactions like meetings which happen on campus, and there is an online mentor pool which is there. An online system is there for connecting with mentors. Then for funding, we in-house, we are working closely with a lot of funding agencies like DBT, DST, and we are implementation partners of those funds by these agencies. And then in-house, we host 3 seed funds, 2 from BIRAC, 1 from DST. We have a lot of CSR funds and there are a few fellowships also. For information, we have a very good library at Venture Center, and there's a funding database which is online, which covers all the funding calls which are open. Then we have shared lab facilities, plug and play labs. So other than the dedicated labs which a startup gets, there they try to buy the equipment which are, very specific for their project from the money which they have got. But if suppose they are not able to buy all the equipment, so we have a basic chemistry lab, basic analysis lab, basic bio lab, where we have all the basic equipment which are required. Say for chemistry, we have a basic chemistry lab where we have a rotavac, analytical balance, pH meter, conductivity meter, so a fume hood. So the basic infra or equipment which are required. So people need not invest in buying these, but they can use these as shared facility. Similarly, we have a prototyping lab, a tinkering lab. So many of our startups are working on medical devices and diagnostics. So they need to use a 3D printer, scanner. So all this is available over here. Then we have 3 labs for testing and analysis. So VC analytics, where we have all, high-end analytical instruments. CAMS, we have 2 mass spec with us, 2 QTOFs, and Center for Biopharma Analysis, which I am leading. This is a facility which is funded by National Biopharma Mission BIRAC, Government of India. And here we are, focusing on analytical characterization of biomolecules, all biopharmaceuticals. So we have very good high-end analytical equipment with us, and all these facilities are not only open and available for our startups, but these are open to anyone who is doing any kind of research. Then we have a regulatory information and facilitation center. So as many of our startups are working in healthcare area, and healthcare products processes need a lot of regulations, approval, certification. So the team is there which helps them develop all that. Then we have a technology transfer office. So this TechX team does the job of connecting technology seekers and technology providers. So if you have a good technology with you, which you want to license to a big company, then we provide you the platform to connect and to introduce and help licensing that technology. And then we have an intellectual property facilitation center, IP phase, where we have patent agents in our team who help our startups. And again, this service is open to all. So they tell people, what kind of patents or design or copyright, trademark can be filed, and they help them filing it. Then these are the extended partners and services for designing and prototyping at a little higher scale. If you want to do some trial manufacturing, need more finance, legal or HR help. So these are the different national programs which we are running at Venture Center. So these are all the key enabling initiatives. So these are actually the names of the different programs which we are running at Venture Center. So there is an incubation practice school. So anyone who is trying to set up a new incubator, they can learn from our experiences and insights, and they can visit our incubation practice school website. And we do something called as an immersion program, which is a 2 days program where we have a proper module, to train people how to set up an incubator, how to run it, and how to be sustainable. Then there are a lot of databases which are there in-house, and they are open access on our websites. Currently, we are running this AIM Prime program for faculty, startup entrepreneurs, and this is ongoing. And the AIM Prime program, you can search on YouTube, and all the sessions of AIM Prime program are available there. And they are really very helpful to understand the science entrepreneurship. Then there are fellowships, launchpad programs, lab to market program. This is for all the academic research which goes on. If they want to take it up to market, then they can apply under lab to market program. And then there are some student clubs for ICER and NCL where we are connected. Then related to incubation at Venture Center, there are pre-incubation programs, resident incubation, and after resident, like suppose if you have graduated from Venture Center, then there is something called as associate incubation. There are different verticals: social innovation, bio incubation. So I am leading bio incubation here. If you are a so there is a soft landing program. This is for companies who already have, big companies who want to try and set up a small R&D for a new product. So they come under the soft landing program. Then these are the different funding programs which we run and at Venture Center. So very happy to share this particular slide with you. Here you see the success stories of the startups which have been working at Venture Center, and they have technologies which are either first in India or first in world. So to give you a few examples, like here you see India's medical solutions. This is first in India US FDA approved spinal implants company. We all know Dr. Jayant Khandare. He has a pharma background. So his company, they are the first one CDSC approved CTC diagnostic solution. So that's a liquid biopsy technology. His company is called OncoAir, sorry. Then the most talked about in news, the MyLab Discovery Solutions, the first in India for CDSC approved RT-PCR kit for COVID-19 testing. So these are few of the examples. And these are the logos of the spin-off or spin-out companies. Most of them are from NCL and ICER. But we do support other R&D organizations too. So this is a snapshot of the incubatees who are currently there on Venture Center campus. So as I mentioned, most of them are working in healthcare, around 56%, 16% in clean energy environment, then few of them in agriculture, industrial biotechnology, and then engineering ICT. So these are the broad domains in which the startups at Venture Center are working, and these are the logos of the startups who are working in these particular domains. So in healthcare, most of them are working in developing some kind of biomedical devices, implants, diagnostic solutions. There are a few who are working on biopharma also. Some of them have new products, and most of them are working in advanced services. And then environment, energy, agriculture, bio IT, engineering, industrial biotechnology. And we also have some more service providers in our campus as ecosystem partners. So these are the supporting partners, the foundational and agency partners of Venture Center. We are hosted by CSR, NCL, NSTEDB, supported by NSTEDB, BIRAC, MSME, TDB, TIFAC, DSIR, DIPP, DBT, DST, and these are our CSR partners. These are few glimpses of the facility images at Venture Center. So here you see our tinkering lab as a prototyping facility. We also have a MedTech clean room, ISO class 7 and 8, where people do trial manufacturing of their medical devices, the products which would be required for further clinical validation. CAMS is Center for Advanced Mass Spectrometry, where we have 2 mass spec with us. Then these are the shared lab spaces. This is the cell studio. Here we have a confocal microscope and flow cytometer. This is the bioincubator building. This is a front view of Venture Center, the reception area. We have a lot of meeting rooms, event spaces, and this is our library. So just to give you one example, anyone who is working on developing a medical device in medtech domain, so we have all the facilities to support them, right from developing the proof of concept to making a prototype, doing trial manufacturing, doing sterilization packaging at a small scale for the testing and regulatory purposes. So now moving on to the next section of my talk, that is funding opportunities. Yeah. So this is a very important landscape which we all need to understand, that these are the different stages at the bottom which we talked about, that we will be at idea stage, then we will develop the idea, we'll work on the idea, reach proof of concept, prototype stage, approvals, commercial production, and finally the launch of product. So we need to understand that this 10 CR might not be required in the beginning itself. at the beginning, we might just need 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs to start, to kickstart. And then as we move on and progress from one stage to another, our needs will change and grow. Okay. So to support the R&D stages, we have different kinds of fundings, fellowships to start with. Then for POC, we have Nidhi Prayas grant, BIG is there, Sparsh is there from BIRAC. For seed funding, then there are BIRAC seed funds, DST seed funds, DBT seed funds, which are there, PRISM is there. To scale up, when you move from early stage to late stage, there is SIBRI grant, there is BIPP, there are grants from TDB, and then there are angel investors. There are some, Indo-US, Indo-Australia projects also, which you could think of when you're translating from early stage to little later stage. And then there are venture capitalists and private equity that would come into picture at a little later stage. But to start with, this is very important, the 3 Fs. The 3 Fs would be your friends, family, and fools. So definitely your family will be a great pillar of support for you when you're starting. Your friends will also contribute. And then there'll be, if you're lucky enough, you might know of some fools, who have lot of money with them, but don't know what to do with it. So maybe you can help them channelize their resources well and take their help too. So this is very important to understand that you might need to raise different kinds of funds at different stages of your technology development. So now I'll talk about some of the funding programs which are implemented at Venture Center. So first one here is a Sparsh and Social Innovation Immersion Program, SIIP. Now this is more towards social innovations, and my colleague Dr. Mugdha Lele will be talking tomorrow. So she leads the social innovation vertical and she'll definitely talk about it more. So what I'll tell you now is the Sparsh call opens every year. It's announced by BIRAC DBT, and these calls are around some themes. So every year when the call is announced, like here you see call 3 was around the theme of aging, geriatric health and assisted living. So people who are working in this area, fellows, young people, so the fellowship has an age criteria there. So you can see that all of them were working on solving some problem which is related to geriatric population, and that's how they were supported. So very important to note, if you have students who would wish to take up social innovations, so this year the call is open now for SIIP fellowship, and the call is open till 30th of September. And this year Venture Center is hosting the theme of Agri-Tech. So anyone who would like to pursue their entrepreneurship in Agri-Tech innovations, they can get in touch with Mugdha. So next type of grant is Nidhi Prayas. Now this is a grant by DST, Department of Science and Technology. And this is, so you need to understand for each of these fundings or grants, there is some eligibility criteria and there is a scope, like what is supported, what is not supported. So it's very important to understand the guidelines before you actually go and write these projects and try to seek help through these projects. So Prayas grant is when you are translating from idea to prototype. So that time you can pitch for Prayas grant. It's a 10 lakhs grant for 1 year, and all these areas are supported, and it's for individuals. And as a company, you need to be less than 2 years old to get the Prayas grant. And you get to use the space at Prayas Shala, that is a tinkering lab which we have. You can work there and develop your idea more. So as I talked about the eligibility, it is a full-time thing. So all the entrepreneurship programs are a full-time thing. It's nothing part-time. You have to dedicatedly work on it. And mostly all the funding agencies will have the eligibility criteria that the project leader should be an Indian citizen, or if you are a company, then 51% of the company should be owned by Indian nationals. So that's a criteria which is common all across in India. And then there would be like, you should have finished your studies, or if you're working, then you should have all the NOCs in place and all that. And as a startup, I already mentioned that you should be under 2 years old. So what is supported, what is not supported? So under Prayas, you can make the prototypes, patents can be filed, you can outsource some of your studies. But what you can't do is you can't pay salary to yourself or anyone. It's you who will be working on it, or you can't buy new equipment with it. So that was about Nidhi Prayas grant. Now this is a fellowship program that's called Nidhi Entrepreneur in Residence Program, Nidhi EIR, which is again by DST. It's given for individuals. So it's almost a 30,000 per month fellowship for a year. It's full-time thing, and for students to be a EIR fellow, they should have completed minimum 4 years of their education, or graduation they should have completed. And if it's a company, then it need not be more than 1 year old. Again, as I said, it's a full-time thing where you work on your idea and try to develop the idea more and validate your POC and make the prototype. So both this Nidhi EIR and Nidhi Prayas, these two grants are managed by my colleague Amruta. So whenever these calls are open, we announce them on our funding database and on all our social media handles. Next, very important, since in audience today we have a lot of people from academics background, very important to note is the PACE, that's promoting academic research conversion to an enterprise. So under PACE, there are two categories. One is AIR, that's academic innovation research, and then there is CRS, contract research scheme. So AIR, you can write a proposal if you are trying to develop a proof of concept for any process or product, and this can be done as only as an academics. You need not have an industry partner, that's not compulsory. But when you apply under CSR, that time you have to apply in collaboration with an industrial partner. So the call for PACE opens thrice a year, and these are the timelines which are given, and all the details are available on BIRAC website. Now, very important one. So today actually is the last date to submit applications for BIG call. So it again opens twice a year. BIG is Biotechnology Ignition Grant, which is a grant funding run by the DBT BIRAC. And this is again to validate your proof of concept and make your prototype. So this call opens twice a year from 1st Jan to 15th Feb. And then again from 1st of July to 15th of August. But this time it opened a month later. So it was open till today. So it's open till 5 p.m. today actually. And that's BIG, which is supporting early stage startups and individuals, entrepreneurs. Then here at the bottom you see SIBRI and BIPP. So these are again grants by BIRAC, but this are little at a later stage. So, when you have your prototype ready and you want to maybe do the regulatory filings, or you want to go for some scale up, at that time you will approach for these grants. And since many of us are in pharma and we need to do clinical trials, see if you are working on a new kind of a molecule, then we need to understand that clinical trials require a lot of money and time. So that may not be supported by all these early stage funds. That would be supported by something like BIPP. And SIBRI, BIPP are matched funds. So there is a difference which I would like to bring out to your notices. When we say a grant fund, it is a funding wherein say, so BIG was a grant funding, but now they have included a royalty clause there. So what is meant by a grant funding is, suppose you write a proposal and you are successful and you get the grant. So the funding agency is giving you a grant of 50 lakhs. So what you are in turn expected from you by the funding agency is whatever you have written in your application, that suppose if it's a 18 months grant, say in first 6 months, I will complete this set of activities. So once you complete those set of activities, they will release the money. So all the money you don't get at the first place itself, in the first tranche or on the first day. You get it in tranches or installments, and based on how you are progressing. So there would be some milestones. So as and when you complete those milestones, your money is released. So in grant fund, you are just expected to complete whatever you have committed under that project in that project duration. That's it, what is expected in return. But when it is a seed funding, in that case, there'll be some equity. So if you have a company and 100% shares are with you, so if as venture center, I invest I give you some seed funding, so I may ask for 5% or 10% equity in your company. So that's how it starts. So there, it's not only the work you're supposed to do, commitment, but I am asking something in return, and that's your shares. So here, that was grant funding, then seed funding. SIBRI and BIPP are matched fundings. In the sense, if I ask for 1 crore to complete my work, so 50 lakhs is a grant fund which is by BIRAC. Above 50 lakh, whatever amount you ask, you have to share, you have to do match funding. Means the rest of the 50 lakhs, 25 lakhs BIRAC will give, 25 lakhs I will have to put in from my pocket. So SIBRI and BIPP are matched funds wherein you will also have to, invest your money. So that's about all the funding opportunities which are, mostly applicable for early stage startups who are working and where we are implementation partners and executing it. So kindly connect with us on social media. We're there on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, even Instagram now. And why should you connect us? Once you're connected with us, you will get to hear a lot of things which are happening at Venture Center, all the events which happen, all the funding calls which are announced, and those could be useful for you. So that's it from my side. I am done and open to questions. Thank you, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed the talk, and now I can take up some questions. So how do we take up the questions? Malika sir, shall I directly take them up from the chat box?
If you are comfortable with that, or I can read it for you, whatever.
No, I am comfortable. I can see the chat box.
No problem, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Mandari, for the compliment. So Adavi Rao has asked that, do you charge for analysis for using high-end? Yes, we do charge. So all our services and their pricing is listed on our website, or else you can just drop an email to us and we'll let you know what are the charges. Suhas is saying nice session. Thank you. If product are already manufactured abroad and if anybody wants to manufacture it in India, is this considered as a new idea and get funding? So so it depends. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to exactly mimic them? So that is something which might not be supported by some of the funding agencies who are looking for innovative ideas. But then there is something called as now Make in India program is there. And when you say that, indigenous, it is going to be indigenous. So still there will be some parameters against which you will be adjudged. Like what kind of product you are making. If it is really the need of the hour, what are its different features, whether you are exactly matching what is being sold in the abroad. You're not making compromise with respect to quality. And still you are able to do it in India and trying to offer it to Indian population. That will really be supported. So it all depends on what you are proposing, how you are proposing, whether you have right kind of capabilities, credibility, experience, expertise to do it. So that is what will be evaluated. And then you can get the funding. So thank you, Dr. Patil. Thank you, Dr. Kumar. If the idea for the project comes from an already funded project, what is the procedure? So can you be more clear here? Like already funded project means maybe you can unmute yourself and ask me the question.
meant that if you have a PhD student or a master's student who is already on a granted project, like for example, say a UGC project or a BRNS project or something like that, and the idea has come from this. I think there's some, so you have to take that funding agent, your work becomes a property of theirs in some way, right? So how do you go forward with it? I mean, is there any sort of...
Nothing like that. You can show that preliminary work was done with this fund.
Okay.
And if you get an NOC, say suppose it's a if a PhD students wants to pursue it ahead, and they have done a part of it during their PhD, so they need to get a NOC from their research guide and the institute, because the preliminary work had happened there.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you, Mrs. Chaugule, Sandhya. The question, Pandit ma'am is asking if prototype is ready, what kind of support Venture Center provides for further commercialization? So yes, if you have a prototype with you, you can come and discuss with us based on in which domain you are working. We'll help you identify the correct kind of funding agency for you to, raise more money to take the prototype ahead. Or if you have the prototype and you wish that, now you want to license it. So if you have patented it, you can talk to our, as I mentioned, there is a TechX team, Technology Transfer Office. So you can talk to them that we have this technology, we have the prototype ready, and, we are willing to license it. So they will, there'll be a set of questions which they'll come up with, and they'll try to evaluate your technology. And once they are satisfied, they will then help you connect with people who are trying to seek this technology. I hope that answers your question. So definitely we'll be happy to support. So what kind of support? We'll first start with the mentoring, or that's the thing first we'll start with. And then we'll see that beyond mentoring to how to raise the funds or how to get the correct kind of technology seekers, what else can be done.
I would like to know how many formulation or pharma related ventures come to you for the support?
Very few actually. Few of them I come for BIG. But then what happens is, now this is the fact and truth that we all know that pharma means the development timeline is really long. So many a times investors are not willing to invest. But then if the idea is really very, very good and the technology is a path-breaking technology, then they are supported. So people do come to us and we do support them. We tell them, what should be done in to expedite the things, or to make it more market ready, or if it is very crude at research stage, then how to sharpen it more so that the idea can be then converted to a business thing, all that. But yes, pharma faces a lot of problems compared to medical devices, diagnostics. There the timeline is really small compared to a pharma idea.
And ma'am, for mentoring also, are there charges, or it's only for the use of laboratory and instruments?
Yeah, so for mentoring, it's just that if you come, say first time to us, that is really free. And but if you wish to say take 3 to 4 sessions of mentoring, then there is a pre-incubation program called as Ignition program. So you can register for that. That is a 1-year program, and the charges for it is 1,000 rupees. And in that 1 year, you can then avail 4 to 5 mentoring sessions. So these mentoring sessions can be availed for grant writing. So suppose if you plan to apply for PACE and you are writing your proposal there, if you feel you need our help, because we help a lot in grant writing, whether it is BIG, SIBRI, BIPP, that how exactly you should put down your idea so that it is very convincing and has more chances of winning. So that is where we can help.
And there are two more questions.
I'm so Dr. Godke is asking if we look forward to shape new business idea with our own, can you help us to screen idea further? We can based on our experience, but if you really want to engage with professionals, there are people who do market research, professionally provide these services. So initially you can maybe talk to us based on our experience, we can tell you something. But if we really feel that, you know, we are also not capable or we have not heard of these kind of ideas, we will direct you to some market research firms which can professionally help you. To apply for the grants, should the applicant be employed? No, nothing like that. So usually there are two categories, individual or company. So you might have your own startup company or you may be as an individual. Only thing is, as a student, you can't apply. And if you are employed anywhere, say suppose if you are working in a college as a faculty, then if your college has those kind of policies where they'll allow you to take it up full time for some years. So all that documentation they might ask. But it's not necessary that you have to be employed. Thank you, Pandit ma'am. Raja is asking, some of our student entrepreneur teams are willing to register and apply for funding grants, but since they don't have degree, they may not be able to apply. Correct. In that case, I am applying the grant on behalf. Okay. In that regard, can I be able to apply for different grants? For no. You can apply for different grants, but the project has to be different. You can't apply for the same idea to different funding agencies. Even if you apply, if you get, you can only use one of the grants which you are getting for one idea. Also, their enterprise are registered separately in MSME. So, but you need to restrict. You can't be applying in on behalf of each of the student. You should do a good screening, and only the ones which really have a good potential, you can, be the face for them for some time till they graduate, and then they can take it ahead. Yeah. It is different ideas. Okay, so for different ideas, yes, you can. Any more questions there?
Charged, I think, yeah.
Charges of the ignition program. Okay.
For
analysis. Which analysis? Yes, you will be charged for say if you want to do a mass spectrometry analysis of your sample, yes, you will be charged. So depends on which kind of analysis you're looking for. Yeah, so I think we are done.
All questions answered.
Yeah, like FTIR and so specifically, I may not be able to tell you how much Raman spectrophotometer we don't have. We have a FTIR with you, but I can tell you that you can simply type. Just give me a minute. I'm typing. You can type VC Analytics, and on the VC Analytics website, you will get the charges for all the analysis.
Yes, LCM is also available at your center at a very reasonable rate.
Yeah.
So I think all the questions are answered, and it has been really a very informative. I mean, a lot of opportunities you have in terms of mentoring, in terms of grants, and in terms of the analysis also you have shown to them. So I think with this note, I would like to thank Thank you. This is a token of appreciation.
Thank you very much, Balikar sir, and the whole team of AISSMS. So I hope there are a lot of faculty members here, and you have got to learn about entrepreneurship, and you will now percolate it to your students, and create the awareness among them. And we are always happy to speak to students and tell them more about what are innovations, what is entrepreneurship, because that's our mandate to promote this. Yeah.
Yes. That is the objective of organizing this faculty development program. They are the link, or they are the connectors between all these activities which are going on at state, national level, and the students. So maximum innovators or the incubator entrepreneurs, they will be there in the future market. Thank you, Smita madam.
Yeah, someone had asked me for my email address, so it's very simple. I'll just type it in the chat box here. It's smita@venturecenter.co.in. Yes. Thank you again, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So
Yeah.
shall we close for now?
You can stop the streaming. Participants have a day ahead, very good and healthy. A request to join tomorrow morning session at 9:25 a.m. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, feedback link, it will be shared on the WhatsApp group. It's a request to all the participants to fill the feedback link, which will be closed at 7 p.m. So don't forget to fill up the